Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Give me a 1 in the comments if you can hear me okay. Give me a 1 in the comments if you can hear me okay. We are back. Thank you for being here with me on a beautiful Sunday. Tonight, divide and conquer. The NAACP battles North Carolina Democrats and Republicans to keep violent offenders on the streets. If you think you didn't hear me correctly, the NAACP of North Carolina is fighting to keep violent offenders on the street. Also, 3 Black teens beat a 9/11 survivor who happens to be homeless now after the death of his wife, who died while doing humanitarian aid in Africa. 3 young thugs beat this white man to death. And last but not least, Jazmine Crockett doubles down on a malicious lie that she told about Republicans and is now facing a firestorm from the liberal mainstream media. Yes, an elected representative continues to tell and perpetuate an absolute bold-faced lie against her political opposition when everyone who's anyone knows that it's simply not true. Without any further ado, let me share this over, and we're going to get to the bottom of why the NAACP is fighting to keep violent offenders on the street. Fatigue buffet for real.
As a bill to toughen violent crime penalties sits on his desk. Now the NAACP is telling Stein not to sign it. Thank you for joining us for the News at 10. I'm Morgan Fogarty.
I'm Gary Brode. This comes as we wait to hear from Katz tomorrow on its plan to make the light rail safer after that brutal murder of Irina Zarutska. A death that changed Charlotte, maybe forever. More than a month after the heinous murder of Irina Zarutska on the light rail, a bill named Irina's Law sits on Governor Josh Stein's desk. Some are hoping it doesn't get signed.
We're asking the governor to veto the bill because it is a reactionary, not a reformative bill.
North Carolina NAACP President Deborah Dix Maxwell wants to see public safety reinvented with more emphasis on mental health.
We have to be better in North Carolina, set an example, and show that we can be fair in sentencing, fair in providing mental health services, and be just about it.
Irina's Law requires judges and magistrates to consider a person's mental state before deciding bail. The bill also eliminates cashless bail for certain offenses and will make it more difficult for violent and repeat offenders to get out of jail while they await trial.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So we got to go out to Clown World, North Carolina.
So, we shouldn't even have to make videos about stuff like this. We shouldn't even have to have discussions about things like this. All of you remember the tragic murder of the Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska. Irina Zarutska, who was granted asylum in the United States of America and was beginning a life in Charlotte, North Carolina. Well, Irina was sitting on a train, minding her own business, and a deranged lunatic who had been hearing voices, who had been arrested over 75 times, arrested and released from things for charges leading, including assault, abusing the 911 system, and a plethora of other offenses. He was released. He was caught, released, caught, released, caught, released 75 different times. And finally, he snapped. He went on a train. He identified Irina Zarutska and stabbed her multiple times in the neck until she was dead. And his reason for doing so was simply because she's white. And obviously, he's not right in the head. After this tragedy, the people of North Carolina, they went to their representatives and they said, we cannot have this happening ever again. You guys are going to have to do something about the catch and release policies that are keeping deranged, lunatic, psychopath, degenerates is all I could call them, on the streets so that they can go out and at random harm and even kill, such as in the case of Irina Zarutska, innocent, law-abiding people. A young girl has her life tragically ended simply because the people who have been elected to protect and represent the interest of the citizens of North Carolina continuously failed to do their job in the name of appeasing the National Democrat Party narrative. If you look around cities all over America, Democrat-run cities, it's cashless bail, it's catch and release, it's deal with violent offenders with kid gloves, all in the name of, I don't even know what it's in the name of. Anti-racism, racial justice, equality. You know, there's a list of crap that they say leaving violent, deadly criminals on the street they say that that is being done in the name of it, right? Justice and equality means that if somebody robs you, he needs to be allowed to walk free for the 6 months leading up into his trial. And if you're in a place like California, he could say, oh, I was under the influence of something like caffeine, and he can get divergence, which is something that's like therapy. So you don't actually go to jail. And then he can get that crime removed from his record and walk the streets again to assault and hurt another person. We can't quite put our finger. We can't say with any certainty exactly why the Democrat Party decided to, make this the major platform of their party. But what we know is it is dangerous, it is deadly, and it is costing American people their lives. And wouldn't you know, what I said from time immemorial, as the North Carolina residents made a move to stop these, to end these ridiculous policies, who was going to come out in defense of the criminals, in defense of the violent psychopaths, not the KKK, wasn't the white supremacists, wasn't the Proud Boys. I'll give you one guess. It was the NAACP. NAACP not going to do a doggone thing to stop you from getting killed in the streets of these liberal cities, these Democrat-run cities. But when you try to move to do something democratically to stop it yourself, they are the first people on the phone with the governor telling them, nah, don't sign that. This girl was brutally murdered. The NAACP can't bring her back. The only thing that prevents this from befalling someone else, this type of tragedy, is to change the way we interact with these type of criminals. Change the rules surrounding the apprehension and release of these criminals. And the NAACP says, nah, keep the violent murderers on the street because this is reactionary and it's not fair. My question is, was it fair to Irina Zarutska when she was stabbed to death on a train? That's my question. I want to see what y'all have to say in the comments. Was it fair to Irina Zarutska when she was just out one night on the train, not bothering anyone, and some degenerate psycho decided that that would be her last night on earth? Where was the NAACP then? Oh, probably driving around in their $100,000 cars, living in their $1 million homes, safe from this element of the city.
I know, which apparently is Charlotte, which, by the way, it's a very cloudy and cold day.
Let me go to the spot. Here we go.
Anti-crime legislation named after Irina Zarutska will go into effect this Monday. Zarutska was stabbed to death in August while riding Charlotte's light rail in Southend. Thanks for joining us for Queen City News after the football game. I'm Brian Blakely. As chief political correspondent Andy Weber reports, some local leaders are now worried they'll struggle to implement the law.
While Democrats took issue with some parts of the bill when it was passed by the General Assembly back in late September, it had bipartisan support because of some of the changes that were made to the criminal justice system. However, now leaders here in Mecklenburg County, like the sheriff, worry these changes will push the system to its limits.
You have a chance today to stop it and to stand up for not just Serena, but for so many others.
Back in September, lawmakers in Raleigh passed legislation that the state's GOP promised would be tough on crime. The bill, Irina's Law, named after Irina Zarutska, who was stabbed to death on Charlotte's light rail, made several changes, including banning cashless bail for certain violent crimes and repeat offenders, limiting how often judges can allow pretrial release, and requiring more defendants to receive mental health evaluations.
If you can find a policy that will help fill vacancies, and you find a policy that produces funding, that is what the sheriff needs. Okay. Policies don't fill vacancies. Policies don't fill funding.
But this week, Mecklenburg County Sheriff Gary McFadden told county commissioners the legislation will increase the workload for an agency already being pushed to its limits. He says his office will need funding for more staffing.
You're talking about funding for additional medical, and we haven't even talked about the mental capacity of functioning to give them the resources that they need, and then transporting them to these additional hearings beyond what we transport now.
Right.
So understand this. You have a woman brutally murdered on a train in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. And finally, the citizens have had enough. They decide to stand up and go confront their politicians. And they say, look, this has to stop. This has to stop. You got innocent people getting slaughtered by mentally deranged lunatics. And the police are clearly not doing their job. The response to this effort and the signing of the bill into law by the sheriff, this is the person y'all didn't elected to protect y'all from these crazy folks. His response is, well, we don't have the funding. Who's gonna pay for it? Like it's his money. We don't have the funding. So we keep the violent criminals on the street instead of saying, hey, we need to find some funding. We might have to raise, taxes 2% or get rid of some wasteful spending, right? Instead of saying that, nah, who's going to find the funding? This is what you have. You have career survivalists, people who just get in the job, don't make no fuss, and make sure they don't go over budget or violate any of the rules in positions where you need the humanity, the human aspect, the empathetic perspective working in that scenario. This sheriff does not identify with a single person in the city of of Charlotte, North Carolina. He doesn't, because there is no way that someone with a conscience can get on stage and tell you that a bill that was signed into law for the specific purpose of protecting innocent, law-abiding Carolinians and the citizens of Charlotte simply is over budget and doesn't have the funding to be implemented. These people are totally out of touch. And I say it time and time again. The Democrat Party can find money for everything else. They can find money for illegal immigrants like Irina. They can find money in Chicago for illegal immigrants, money to give them food stamps, free housing in 5-star hotels, give them driver's licenses, build shelters for them. They can find money for the illegals, no problem. But every time when it comes to keeping the American people safe, oh, we don't have the funding. I'm telling you, these people have sacrificed your safety to line their own pockets. They've identified the one area they could divert funds from, and no one would be able to complain because they would come back with the racism argument. Law enforcement. Well, we'll stop taking violent criminals to jail, and when people complain about it, we'll just call them racist. What do the Democrats say? This is what democracy looks like. Is this what democracy looks like? Because the majority of the council members in Charlotte, North Carolina are Democrats. This is what democracy looks like? The Democrats didn't even submit a bill to help to stop what happened to Irina Zarutska on that train from happening to other innocent women and innocent Carolinians. It was the Republicans who did that. You guys keep talking about, oh, they're two wings of the same bird. How? One wing is like, hey, let's just keep doing nothing, letting violent criminals back onto the street to prey on citizens. The other wing is like, nah, we need to put a bill in and get it signed into law that will hold these people in jail when they're arrested for violent crimes. We need to submit a bill that, if signed into law, will protect law-abiding citizens from violent offenders. This is not even this isn't even a partisan issue. I thought everybody wanted to keep citizens safe. I must have been wrong, but I thought everybody wanted to keep American citizens safe. Let me know. But it doesn't seem like that's the agenda of the Democrat Party. It's almost as if they want to keep you in a state of perpetual fear so that you're easier to manipulate. They don't want you to experience safe streets again, because if you experience safe streets again, you might start expecting safe streets. And their policies that continuously make your streets and your cities less and less safe might not be so palatable anymore. You don't want to take the people out of Gotham City and take them to Whitefield, Maine, or to Irvine, California, or to Stony Brook, New York. Why? Because you don't ever want to allow them to experience anything better than what you're trying to get them to accept. You're just going to have to accept that your family is in danger every time they leave the house in Charlotte, North Carolina. You're just going to have to accept that if your kids get on the train in Charlotte, North Carolina, there's a chance that they'll get viciously murdered by some psychopath. Just accept it. It's like living in the hood in Los Angeles. These people live in the hood, right? These gangbangers shooting up the neighborhood every day. You know what they do? They just accept it. They don't say, hey, let me move out of here to keep my kids safe. Let me vote for a politician who's tough on crime to get these criminals off the street. Nah, they just accept it. And when they lose their kids, say they got 5 kids, they lose one, they say, oh, well, at least I got 4 more. That's the way African Americans are living in 2025. That's the way we're living, because that is the way that the Democrat Party feels is best for us to live, under constant threat by the criminal element that we sit up and vote to defend, like the NAACP is doing. It's disgusting.
Democrats in Charlotte currently are in full-blown panic over having to be tough on crime, to lock up more criminals, okay? Because Republicans forced the state to pass Arena's law, which is in response to the murder of Irina Zarutska on the Charlotte light rail, okay, by a deranged lunatic, right, who had mental health issues. This law is meant to protect law-abiding citizens, to protect individuals like Irina Zarutska, who did not deserve to lose her life in the way that she did.
Video, you see first officers responding to DeCarlos Brown outside of a hospital and talking to him for about 25 minutes as they say he appeared to be going through a mental health challenge. Brown appears to walk away agitated. Police say at that point he called 911 again. More officers then arrived and eventually arrested Brown for misusing 911. Brown
now okay, so I want to give a little context to this situation, because this situation kind of explains to you or shows you how law enforcement is working in Democrat strongholds like Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay, so the DeCarlos Brown guy who stabbed up Irina Zarutska, there was an incident where he was, having a mental breakdown publicly. He was in public. He's having a mental breakdown. So understanding that mentally he's not well, he's unwell, he calls the police. Now, what should the police have done? The police should have immediately called mental health experts, They should have brought someone in who was qualified to assess the situation and determine what was the next step in his care. But that's not what they did. The guy became so frustrated because the police would not help him with what he needed help with. He was going through a psychotic episode. And so he walks away and calls 911 again, clearly trying to get somebody out there who was actually going to help him. You know, a lot of people who have mental illness, they understand that what's going on in their mind isn't right, but they are almost powerless to stop it. I told you about my friend. He was having voices for years. He was able to, I would say, defeat or resist the voices for a long time. But eventually the voices won over and he ended up committing suicide. This is, I believe, a similar situation. These voices are telling this man to hurt people. And he understands, right? He understands that that he needs help in that moment. Calls 911. They come out. They're cops. They're not psychologists. They're not psychiatrists. They're not therapists. They're none of those things. The least they could have done is detained him, took him down to the station, and let him speak with the jail psychologist, right, the next day or that night or whatever. They wouldn't even do that. They basically just dismiss what he had to say. So he walks away, calls 911 again. They then arrest him for abusing the 911 emergency system. So they couldn't detain him to get him the help and resources he needed, but they could detain him because he's abusing the 911 emergency system. I see somebody right here, and this is why I love doing these live shows. This is really one of the major problems with our community in America now. You have Joe Max 7818 telling me more solution geared dialogue, less condemning speech. Listen, man, the solution is to stop voting Democrat, but you're such a hypocrite, you won't do that. That's the solution. So we have to talk in these long-winded monologues to get you. We literally have to show people what they already can see. The man was mentally ill. The man was arrested 75 times. He was released 75 times. And he eventually killed somebody. And now that the Republicans have introduced legislation to prevent this catch and release stuff that's going on in every liberal city, including my own, around America, all of a sudden you have the NAACP and the Democrat Party coming out to fight the governor, telling him not to sign this legislation. But they're not bringing any solutions. So here's the solution. Stop voting for them. Go back to what you used to do before you got woke, before you started telling people that they were proving how good of a person they were by basically operating and being lambs to the slaughter for psychopaths and degenerates. That's the solution. I told you the solution at the beginning of the show, but it's not the solution you want. So you'll keep saying, give me some solutions, give me some solutions. 1 + 1 is 2. If you don't accept 1 + 1 is 2, you don't really want the answer. You want the answer that makes you feel good because it doesn't solidify, or it doesn't force you to accept that you did something wrong. This guy will never tell you who he voted for in the last election. He'll never tell you who he's trying to vote for in the next election. And this is an example of how many people think. And people in North Carolina are thinking like this. They want a solution that involves them never having to change anything that they're doing. There are many people like that. I have family members like that. Man, I'm tired of being broke. Well, save some money. Nah, but I want to spend. Well, you said you're tired of being broke. The solution is to save money and stop spending. Budget your money. They don't want to do it. But I'm asking you a question because I want you to ask yourself a question. Why am I voting for politicians who do not want to keep me safe? Why am I voting for politicians who think it's okay to allow a violent criminal out of jail 75 times? Up until the point where he kills an innocent person. Why is the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, why are they asking the North Carolina governor, Josh Stein, not to sign a law that, if implemented, would keep African American people in North Carolina safe? Ask yourself the constructive questions. Nah, Brandon, you're supposed to fix it for us. You're not voting for me. You're not voting for me. If you were voting for me, I'd be trying to fix it for you. The only people who are going to vote for me is white people, because white people seem to actually want to live in safe communities. Black folks just want to win frivolous arguments that don't mean nothing, that make everything worse for everybody. In my opinion.
Video, you see first officers responding to DeCarlos Brown outside of a hospital and talking to him for about 25 minutes as they say he appeared to be going through a mental health challenge. Brown appears to walk away agitated. Police say at that point he called 911 again. More officers then arrived and eventually arrested Brown for misusing 911. Brown faced a magistrate in court and was allowed to be released from jail by promising to appear at his next court appearance. Well, 7 months after that, he was then accused of killing this woman, Irina Zarutska, on Charlotte's light rail.
Yeah. So you seen that, you heard that. Now I went over all of the changes.
So the police, they identified the fact that this dude was going through a mental health episode. They knew that. But the only thing they had for him was, hey, stop calling 911 over and over again, or we're going to arrest you. All the things that they claim when you listen to Zoran, you listen to Brandon Johnson. Oh, we're going to get more social workers and healthcare, mental health professionals out to these calls, right? What are you talking about? The police don't even have the good sense to arrest the person and then put them in the car and take them to the mental health professional. So now you're going to put a bunch of social workers on the front line to deal with people who are willing to set people on fire and stab people to death? It's a plan that failed before it even started. I want to go into the Irina's law to just kind of show you some of the things that the NAACP and Democrat Party of North Carolina are trying to prevent. Well, it's already signed into law, but they were trying to prevent it from being signed into law. So Irina's law, named after murder victim Irina Zarutska, is a North Carolina law that restricts pretrial release for violent and repeat offenders, effective December 1st, 2025. Key changes include removing the possibility of cashless bail. That was a highly contested thing introduced into many liberal states and cities where they said bail was racist because people, if they didn't have the money, they wouldn't be able to get out of jail. Cash bail was racist because if they didn't have money, then they had to sit in jail. Whereas someone who had money would be able to get out of jail because they could pay the bail. So they said, well, we're going to stop this bail process where you have to pay to get bail. So now you get bailed out basically on OR, which is your own recognizance. They would keep that aspect, but they would stop the release of violent offenders on cashless bail policies. So removing the possibility of cashless bail for these individuals and requiring judges to impose more restrictive conditions, such as house arrest or secured bonds. The law also mandates mental health evaluations for certain defendants and modifies death penalty appeal timelines. Officials anticipate the law will lead to increased workload and a surge in jail population. But do you understand that laws are put in place as deterrents? I don't think the law will lead to increased jail population. I believe what leads to increased jail population is lack of enforcement of the law. When the criminals know you're not going to do anything, they're more willing to commit crimes. And if there's more people committing crimes, even if you just arrest a fraction of those people, you will still see the number of people who are incarcerated go up. Look at the Black community. Crime is celebrated, and the incarceration rate is high. Look at a state like California, very loose, liberal, very loose law enforcement, right? A lot of things you do, they might just write you a ticket. The jail population is still exponentially higher than many other states. Why? Because when you're soft on crime and you do things like cashless bail, that doesn't deter criminals, that emboldens them. They don't fear you anymore. So now they are more willing to go out and victimize people. Let me keep on reading this. Another thing that Irina's law would do is, hold on. Okay, so it would make mandates. It mandates restrictive conditions. And we just read that. Judges will have to impose stricter conditions like house arrest with electronic monitoring or an appearance bond. So this guy went to jail 75 times and he was never even put on house arrest. He didn't have an electronic monitoring device. He was just roaming the street, going wild. Also, it allows judicial officials, it mandates that they consider a defendant's criminal history when determining release conditions. I thought judges already did that. But do you see the sneaky way these politicians and these judges, do you see the sneaky way they work to try to take away the punishment for these heinous acts and reduce the punishment for criminality? So you had a bunch of judges sitting up in the courthouse overseeing violent crimes, and they weren't even allowed to consider the past criminal history of the defendants that they were judging, that they were making rulings on. Oh, he shot 10 people 10 years ago, but he didn't shot 2 people today, but you can't consider the fact that he's a repeat violent offender when you sentence him for shooting these 2 people today. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. And I keep telling you, we don't have a problem with, crime per se. We have a problem with the enforcement of crime. These people have walked back all the laws that have been keeping us safe for decades, ever since the 92 and the 94 crime bill. But what you're witnessing is that we are re-entering into an era similar to that, where people are being brutalized, they're being murdered, they're being raped, and they are scared. White folks saw a white woman get stabbed to death on a train, and she was innocent. She didn't do anything. And now they're tired of playing the game with you. They want to take their ball back and go home. They don't want to play this game no more. You might as well call this Irina's law the very first step towards the reinstitution of the 92 crime bills. Bro, they bringing back the death penalty. They're literally trying to, look right here. If you read this, it says, Where is it at? Repeat, cashless bails, restricted. Look right here. The law also mandates mental health evaluations for certain defendants and modifies death penalty appeal times. They're tired of you. They're tired of you. They don't even want to allow you to appeal death sentences anymore. You've successfully turned them back into their ancestors. Nah, you can't let these Negroes off death row. All they're gonna do is get out and do it again. Remember that? That's what white people used to say. Oh, he ain't gonna do nothing but get out and do it again. And how right did we prove them? The more we fought for leniency on violent criminals. Now they out here repeat offending, getting arrested for the same thing 4, 5, 6 times. All the way up until the point where they kill somebody. And then we want to say dumb stuff. Oh, it's because slavery. It's wild. Another thing that changed is it impacts repeat offenders. A defendant with at least 3 qualifying convictions in the past 10 years will be subject to the new restrictions. So even this right here that they're doing, in my opinion, it's not enough. Because from what I'm reading, you have to offend 3 times within 10 years to then have all these new mandates impact you. Other changes to the law is mandatory mental health evaluations. A mental health evaluation is required if a defendant is charged with a violent offense and has a recent history of involuntary commitment, or if the official has reason to believe the person may be dangerous due to mental health issues. That was the issue with this guy, Carlos, or whatever his name was. He was a person who was mentally unstable, but he was allowed to slip through the cracks of the justice system, and he was released onto the streets. See, the streets are the new insane asylums because they don't want to spend money building new insane asylums and mental health hospitals. And I'll be honest, Ronald Reagan was the person who was responsible for a lot of these asylums and stuff getting shut down. And he was wrong for that. But if the Democrat Party is so much better, why don't they work bipartisan with the Republicans to bring these things back? There's a place for people like the man who killed Irina Zaruta. But guess what? He wasn't sent to one of those places. They said, you know what? It will be cheaper for us to just let this guy roam the street. Maybe he'll kill somebody, maybe he won't. They gamble. They gamble with the safety of Americans. And I'm sick of it. And I'm sick of the damn NAACP. They need to get rid of that crap. It's pure garbage. It's not doing anything for anyone, but making a few black gatekeepers rich. So here we go. So what the law also does is it gives alternative execution methods. It allows for the possibility of alternative execution methods of if lethal injection is ruled unconstitutional. See, so North Carolina trying to get back to killing folks. They're not playing with you. They are not playing with you. Anticipated impact, increased jail population. The new restrictions are expected to increase the number of people held in jail before trial. What's wrong with that? If they're violent, they need to be in jail before their trial so they don't go out and kill somebody else. Increased workloads. Law enforcement and court systems are prepared for increased workloads and longer processing times. Los Angeles, California is way bigger than Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm sure if Los Angeles could do it, y'all could do it. Funding and staffing concerns. Officials have expressed concerns about needing more funding and personnel to manage the anticipated increase in the jail population and court system demand. It's such bullcrap because they could easily just ask the federal government for funding the same way that Brandon Johnson in Chicago is begging the federal government for funding so he could provide more services for illegal immigrants. I'm sure Trump wouldn't mind throwing them a billion for law enforcement. He would probably love to do it because it's a step in the right direction, and it's a step in the direction that he already wants to take this country in. You implement the law, but here's the issue. Here's the issue. They don't want other states to see how quickly this reduces crime. That's what's going on here. The Democrats in that state do not want other states to see how quickly crime is reduced after the implementation of this new Irina's law, because that's going to prove that the Democrat Party is purposely, intentionally creating an environment that perpetuates violent crime. Somebody said those laws sound like how you breed crime in your city. So Patrick Smith, Patrick, I'm going to give you the link. You can come up. Patrick is going to come up and tell us how tough on crime laws breed more crime in the city. But I'm telling you guys, this is how you have to, this is called mental gymnastics. I have to convince myself that by being tougher on crime, it's creating an environment that's going to make more people commit crime. So if I say, look, if you steal a loaf of bread, you're going to get the death penalty. That's going to make more people steal loaves of bread. But this is what it means to be a liberal. It doesn't have to make sense. All it has to do is fly in opposition to whatever conservatives say. Keeping people in jail. Wait, my bad, Brandon. I thought you were speaking on what the Democrats were trying to do. Exactly. Yeah, I thought that too, but I just used you as an example because you said that. But I figured that, Patrick. But here's the thing. That's what they were trying to do. Hey, if you commit a crime, we're going to let you out in 3 hours back onto the street in the name of equality and justice. You know what he's going to do? He's going to commit crime again. If someone gets arrested for selling dope, they go to jail, they get out in a few hours, right? Well, now they got lawyers and shit to pay. They're going to go sell more dope to try to get the money that they need to fight the dope case that they just got. I don't know if you guys remember this on this channel, but do you remember when we played the video of the young man? He was 16 years old and he was fighting 2 NYPD officers in the subway. Do you guys remember that video? And I think we even got his mom to come up here. Do you remember he was out on bail for an armed robbery and hadn't even been out 6 hours and was already committing another crime, fighting the police in the subway? They're not going to stop being criminal-minded because you're arresting them and letting them go. That's like a fish. You know, some of these fishing tournaments, they'll do like a catch and release. You catch it, you take the hook out, and you throw it back. You know those fish bite the hook again and again and again. They don't care. After a while, they know what's going to happen. I'm going to bite the hook, get the food. They're going to pull me out. I'm going to suffocate for a little bit. They're going to remove the hook and throw me back. Fish learn that. Fish learn that. And they'll purposely go bite the hook because they're getting a meal out of it. This is the same thing with these criminals. I'm going to get arrested. They're going to process me. They're going to let me right out. That's just like in LA. I don't know if you guys know this. In LA, they used to have this thing called Baca time. It was named after Sheriff Lee Baca. It basically was due to overcrowding in the LA County jail. So say you did, I'll give you guys an example. I was arrested for having a gun when I was like 18 years old, right? That was just a misdemeanor. It wasn't a felony because it's not illegal to have a gun, right? I was arrested for having a loaded firearm, right? I went to jail. They processed me. Processing took 18 hours. So you're going through the whole process for 18 hours. 18 hours passed. I got assigned a bunk in a cell. They put me in my cell. Now this, mind you, I went to court and I got sentenced to 6 months in jail. I think that's 180 days, right? I got sentenced to 6 months in jail. They sent me to the county. They processed me for 18 hours. I got assigned a cell and I went in. I laid in my bunk. I laid in my bunk for 10 minutes. They told me to roll up and I was getting released. They said, Tucker, roll it up for release. I didn't believe them. I thought I was dreaming. I said, dude, you fell asleep and had a dream and they telling you getting out of jail. The Mexican dude down at the bottom hit me on my leg. Hey, bro, you getting out? Man, I sat up so quick, I almost hit my damn head on the ceiling. That's called baka time. You don't really do all your time. The system just randomly kicks you out. And I think they kick you out based on their idea of whether or not you'll commit more crimes, right? But that is a policy that perpetuated crime in the streets of Los Angeles. They were arresting criminals, sending them to court. They were getting convicted and they were getting out in a matter of hours. They were just processing them so they could get the money and then releasing them back into the street. It's a racket. It's a scam. Because as soon as they process you, they get money from the state. That's all that is. It's a scam. We don't actually have to keep them locked up and do our job. We can just process them and let them go and collect the money and keep it moving. No, that's not how that works. No. Baka time is just it's computer. The computer generates names every day of people who are going to get released. And because of the however they program that into the system, it would generate random names and people would be getting out. It'd be people who are in there for a year. They do 30 days. This is real. They would be in there for a year and nah, you sound dumb, Rogan. That you don't need anything for that. It was just a system to combat overpopulation. That's it. It didn't have anything to do because who you gonna talk to? I was in there for a gun that I had. What information could I give them? I didn't know any information to give. But it was a lot of people doing it. It was dudes who got sentenced to like 8 months. They did 2 weeks out. The guards come with a random list. You don't even know you're getting out. If they were going to release you, they would take you to a separate cell and be like, all right, you're going to get released. Nah, they just yell your name out. This person, this person, this person. Roll it up for release. Let me see if I could look it up. This is something that was so it was a huge thing, and it was so crazy because he's in jail right now. Lee Baca, the former sheriff of Los Angeles County, because he was doing all types of criminal stuff. He just got sentenced to 3 years in prison. But I'm trying to let me see. Nah, that wasn't it. Because I tried to ask AI, but they're talking about the time he got when he was sentenced. But he's in prison now. But he tried to get out because of coronavirus. But yeah, so that it was just called Baca time. It was like you just got out because it was just too much crowding. And then they started doing this thing where they would ship people to other states. You never he doesn't have a weird case. His case was all about violation of people's rights in prison. That wasn't about, I don't think that case was about anything weird like that. Yeah, he literally he went to jail for corruption. That's it. He wasn't doing. You guys just saying stuff. Those must be no jumper viewers. But but Baca time didn't have anything to do with informing people or nothing like that. I wanna see if we could I'm gonna look at Lee Baca releasing inmates early Baca time. Hey, look, I loved Baca time. I got to jail quick. Yeah. See, it was all about like misconduct and all. Oh yeah, he's struggling now. Damn, they don't have anything about that. Man, I wish they had something on Baca time. Oh, here it goes, right here. Here it goes. I found it. So, see right here? As the former Los Angeles County Sheriff from 1998 to 2014, Lee Baca was known for a controversial policy of early release for thousands of nonviolent jail inmates, a measure he implemented to address severe jail overcrowding and budget shortfalls, right? Baca's early release policy reasoning. Baca often cited budget cuts and court orders to relieve overcrowding in the LA County jail system, the largest in the nation, as the primary drivers for releasing inmates before they serve their full sentences. Scope. The policy in effect from the early 2000s, when I went to jail, resulted in early release of hundreds of thousands of inmates over several years. Some inmates served as little as 10% of their sentence. It was even less, 1%, 1/100th of a percent. Controversy. The policy drew sharp criticism from judges, prosecutors, and other law enforcement officials who argue it undermined the justice system, reduced deterrence for criminals, and potentially increased crime rates. Specific high-profile releases, such as that of Paris Hilton, she also got out on that, generated international news and accusations of preferential treatment. Now, I know for a fact it wasn't preferential treatment because I got it too, and I didn't have any money. Now, let me tell you what's funny, and I want you guys to pay attention to this, and don't you forget this. You put this in your pocket, and you keep it with you. Everybody pay attention. Now, in the early 2000s, California, a Democrat-run state, the judges, lawyers, and police officers, right? Controversy. The policy drew sharp criticism from judges, prosecutors, and other law enforcement officials, right? Who argued it undermined the justice system, reduced deterrence for criminals, and potentially increased crime rates. So what they admitted in early 2000s was if you continuously let criminals out of jail, it will let them out of jail early, it will drive up crime rates, right? Why is it that in 2025, these same judges, these same prosecutors, these same law enforcement officials, these same Democrat politicians, these same Democrat voters are now championing the cause of allowing criminals to get out of jail early for even violent offenses? So in the year 2000, Democrats were like, if you let people out early, right, it's going to drive up the crime rate. 25 years later, in 2025, Democrats are like, no, we need to let people out because of equality and justice. So when your city is crime-ridden, understand, they know exactly what's going to happen when they implement these policies. They're not dumb. They were arguing against these very same type of policies 25 years ago. But they put two and two together. They said, if we don't imprison them, we get to keep the money that we would have spent keeping them in jail. That's all it's about. You got to worry about getting robbed by Pookie, Ray Ray, and Gloctavius so some politician can line their pockets. That's it. So Gavin Newsom could have $50 million to go fight Trump in court and bilk people out of their property up in the Pacific Palisades. That's it. Your kids got to get caught in drive-by shootings so they can save the money that they would spend to lock these animals up and use it for their pet projects. That's it. And that's what laws like Ariana's law is trying to undo. No, everyone asks me, well, what's the solution? Just do what you was doing before. I don't mind a non-violent criminal getting released early. I was a non-violent criminal and I got released early and I didn't continue to live a life of crime. But now they're releasing murderers, rapists, all that. Gavin Newsom just released a bunch of murderers from prison. Huge release. I told you guys about the guys up in LA who had got killed. He released all these Bloods and all these gangsters, Crips and all that. These dudes got out and went right back to killing. They went right back to killing. They didn't change anything. Because usually if someone is violent, I think like 4 Extras is one of them dudes who's out because of that stuff. I'm feeling like Arnold Schwarzenegger got elected and then he got rid of that. Yeah, see, he came in 2003 and he finished in 2011. And I think he was against early release. Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger was against the early release of prisoners. He didn't like that. If I remember correctly, he got rid of that. He didn't get rid of it. The sheriff is in charge of that, but he didn't like it. But Arnold Schwarzenegger, he publicly stated the early release of inmates is totally unacceptable. He was firm that prisoners should only be released upon serving their sentences and being ready to return to society. See? But at that time, federal judges were like, hey, the prisons are overcrowded. So they had to like ship people to other states, release some people and stuff like that. But what the point I'm making, though, is all these politicians know exactly what happens when you release violent criminals early. They know. So when they're doing this, don't think that they're actually doing this because it's equality and they want to fix the system. No, they're doing it because it saves money. The more money they save, the more they can steal. What up, P Sizzle? In the building.
Hey, Brandon. Yeah, so I just wanted to chime
real quick. Guys, before we get started with this, because we're going to move to the next topic after this, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And please consider leaving a contribution for the channel. There's a special reason I have the goal set at 10 $5 super chats. It's because every month since I've left No Jumper, I've actually increased my YouTube earning revenue. This month is a little bit different because we had a really slow start at the beginning of the holidays, but at the beginning of the month, but we bounced back in a major way. And I am literally only like $50 away from surpassing last month's revenue. And I'm just trying for my own motivation to just get a little bit more than I got last month so I could keep this trend of 3 months. It'll be 4 months now of positive growth as far as revenue. So if you guys want to help me out, let's get 5, 10, $5 contributions and we'll still be on the path. We won't go into a recession. No, I'm just kidding. But I just hate that. I hate when I'm like, I got that momentum and I got it back. I lost a lot of it in the beginning of the month, but I got it back because I did something stupid that hurt my channel. But now I'm very close to surpassing last month and you guys can help me out. Thank you so much. Cash App, PayPal, Zelle, whatever, it's all up there. I don't think I pinned it to the top, but I will. Go ahead, Pete Sizzle.
Yep. No, I just wanted to say, being someone from North Carolina, um, really this law that you're talking about, is like some of the mechanisms that our Republican majority state Congress really has to combat like liberal city judges, liberal controlled metropolis areas such as like Charlotte, Raleigh, Greensboro. And I like it just because it's not even about the Ukrainian lady. I like it because sometimes these people that commit these crimes, they get bailed out. They don't show up for their court dates. They miss the court dates. They become fugitives of the law. And for especially like, for example, if you take drug traffickers, a lot of these people don't have documents, and once they're caught doing trafficking, they're bailed out. They don't really have a need to even show up to court. They can just be fugitives of the law and continue doing whatever illegal activities they're doing. So I applaud my like Republican state congressman in North Carolina to do this as a pushback to liberal policies. And yeah, like I like it. What I don't like is like our Democratic governor Josh Stein and the media and the press like crying about, oh, we don't have enough space in jail. We don't have enough beds in jail to house all these inmates that aren't going to be bonded out. I don't like that rhetoric, but like I get what they're saying as well on their pushback, but I just feel like it's better to be safe than sorry in these type of situations.
Well, what you got to understand with these dudes is it's a very dirty game that they play because they know this. Okay, say I'm a father, a husband, right? Say I get arrested for something like speeding or reckless driving or domestic violence, right? When I go into the jail system of Charlotte, North Carolina, right? Or that county, I'm going to spend more money in there. I'm going to have somebody sending me money to buy commissary, food, all that stuff. I'm going to take advantage of any like little pay to play type of situations they got within the jail. Hey, you could get extra this if you buy this, buy two, get one free, all this stuff, right? So they understand that you are more likely to contribute to the prison or jail economy than say Pookie, who's just gonna go in there, eat the regular mystery meat that's served up, lay on his bunk, fight people, and try to do scante or smoke on tuka or whatever that stuff is called while he's up in there, right? That spice while he's in there. They know that. They know that. So they're like, who is more lucrative for them? The violent gang member, thug, degenerate, who's going to end up costing them a ton of money? Or the mostly law-abiding citizen who just kind of hit hard times or made a bad decision, and now he's in there for 6 months to a year. They're not dumb. They're calculating everything, bro. That's why they started arresting more women. Remember, before they would hesitate to arrest women for domestic violence and all that. Now, you fighting with your girl, both y'all going to jail. That's two people who gonna feed the system with money, getting commissary and all this shit. They know what they're doing. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think ultimately, like what's going to end up happening here, at least, is there'll be more bills coming forward to just invest in the prison system. And I'm all for it just because like our immigration has changed a lot in the course of 15 years in the state. A lot of illegals that live in big cities, a lot of new immigrants as well from countries in Asia that live in big cities as well. The only cities here in North Carolina that really haven't changed are like the tier 2, tier 3 towns that are still like somewhat agrarian, not a big downtown, not a lot of businesses. So I'm all for it. But the sad thing is like the sheriff came out, I think yesterday in Charlotte, and he was talking about how, oh, we're not going to detain any more ICE raids or any more people that are going to be deported through ICE just because this new law forces us to house more people in jail. So we can't deal with ICE, which is kind of a bad cop out.
That's what they do. They always have this we can't do. But the minute the Democrat Party needs them to find some money, the minute illegal immigrants need some services, they find the money. They could put a 3% tax on sales or whatever, a little something, and fund all this. They don't want to do that because they want to make you feel like you are powerless to stop it. Well, if that's the case, why don't you let all the citizens just shoot on sight then? Some dude acting crazy and he looking suspicious, blast his ass.
Only if we were in Texas.
You can't see, and you can't do that, right? So you're paying them. Why don't we cut his job and use that bloated salary to hire 2 more deputies and build a new jail cell? See, they always talk about what they can't do. There's money. There is money. Trust me. Let's go look at the budget. Let's go look at the budget. And also, remember this. They can always ask the federal government for money. They don't want to do that, though, because they want to fly in the face of Trump. Is North Carolina a blue or red? It's a red state, right?
So what we do is like we flip every election pretty much. Like we get like 8 years of a Democratic governor. We get 8 years of like a Republican governor. But the one good thing with North Carolina is all of our state congressmen are almost always a Republican majority. And like that's kind of what like keeps everybody honest, even if there's like stupid liberal policies in big cities or a stupid liberal governor that's in charge. Given that our state Congress is Republican controlled, that's the only thing that keeps them in check. Even right now, like you'd probably like this, like a lot of people are crying right now because they ended up removing a district that a black guy has been like winning for the last, I believe, 10 years or so, near Wilmington, near the beach. And now it's expected that we'll add like another extra seat for our majority in the House of Congress, House of Representatives in DC, just because of them like playing gerrymandering and making it a Republican district. And I just wish that like you're not in California. I wish you moved out here because like even in terms of their black population here in North Carolina, it like dominates the political scene here. Given that states like North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina have a big black population from before the Civil War to today. And like I like it. I like that even the black people here, like there's like a nice healthy split. Like the boomers and the older folks are kind of like usually voting for Republicans, but the single moms and the newer generation, the people that are on the subsidies and the programs, they all vote Democrat. But it's nice that you at least have like some sort of a split and a balance in a way. Like if you went out to liberal states, like fully liberal states, I promise you every single Hispanic, every single black person would probably vote along the party lines. Instead of like having dissent and thinking for themselves.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is like states like California have like 30 to 40% Republicans. It's just that the maps are so gerrymandered, it's hard for a Republican to win. But I believe people are moving a little bit more conservative. But thank you so much for coming up. I got 2 more topics I got to get to.
Yeah, go ahead. I appreciate you.
Y'all don't forget to contribute to the stream. We got our goal. Shout out to Sticks and Stones, my brother, in the comments for the $5 holler. Let's start the $5 challenge, y'all. Thank you, my brother.
And make
only
sure
9 down.
Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, everybody.
For sure. Thank you, P Sizzle. Hey, 1 down, 9 to go. Let's do the thing. All right. So now we gotta talk about something else. So what is up with all of these black teens, the young scholars, as we affectionately call them? What is up with all these young black teens murdering all these like homeless people in these inner cities? We have like several incidents, but tonight I want to talk about 2 incidents in particular. And once you get started murdering homeless people, where does it stop? Check this out.
The judge said that 16-year-old Guiniker Rodriguez Vasquez will remain behind bars because he poses a clear and real danger to the community if released because of the randomness of this crime. The teen blowing a kiss to his mother and his friends in the front row, at times using his orange shirt to cover his face before he turned towards the judge. He and others now charged in this act that has been called random and senseless in court. Prosecutors listed some of the items left behind when a 49-year-old man was stabbed in the back and left for dead on South Wabash early Sunday morning. His cat in a crate, a cart of his possessions. But one thing they did not find is the so-called skeleton mask, because prosecutors say the 3 juveniles now accused of attacking that man took it in a suspected robbery turned deadly. A prosecutor telling the judge, this is the definition of a random violent killing of a man who is doing nothing other than minding his own business, trying to survive on these streets. Prosecutors say 16-year-old Guiniker Rodriguez Vasquez and two 14-year-olds approached the setup to steal a mask. One juvenile armed with and using a metal rod to hit the victim, Guiniker kicking him and stabbing him in the back once with a knife. Those three teens and others were picked up about 12 hours later near 21st and Western after they were spotted on camera and tracked down by police. Investigators say Guiniker had on similar clothes and had a knife in his right sleeve, though they could not say if it was the same knife. One 14-year-old now faces first-degree murder charges for his alleged actions with a metal pipe. Another
Now let me say this. So the Guiniker kid and his little buddies killed the homeless dude. They were caught 12 hours later because cameras, which I told you guys, Chicago has cameras everywhere. Cameras identified them and they were tracked down 12 hours later. But when those people came by and shot at ICE on a main public street in Chicago, nobody knows where those people went. Am I the only one smelling BS right here? Chicago is known for using these public surveillance cameras to catch criminals. That's what they do. They tell you in Chicago, don't do nothing. The camera's going to see you and you're going to get caught. But when someone came and pulled a drive-by on ICE officials, no license plate, no year, make, model of the truck, nothing. It's BS. It's BS. They don't want to, they catch who they want to catch. Let's keep going. Because these are some Hispanic boys, and then we got to get to the black boys.
14-year-old charged with felony armed robbery. Guiniker's public defender asked the judge for electronic monitoring, pointing to his young age, the fact he has a newborn child he wants to support, and adding that another teen told police she brought the knife that day.
Sounds like almighty suspect. Ain't it funny that after they rob and they kill and murder in cold blood, all of a sudden, oh, I got a newborn baby. Oh, can I get the ankle monitor and get house arrest and all this type of nonsense? Bro, you should have been thinking about that before you was out killing homeless dudes. You can't even rob him. He homeless. He ain't got shit. These kids just have bloodlust, man. They're out here doing stuff just to see if they could get away with it. And I'm telling you, they're getting away with a lot more than they're getting caught for. I promise you. But this is what happens when you breed a spirit of lawlessness in your city. Your kids are the first ones you lose. Either you lose them at the hands of the senseless violence or you lose them to the prison systems because they are the perpetuators of the senselessly violent acts. It's not a win. It's a lose-lose situation. But we don't want to be honest about it.
But the judge denied the electronic monitoring, telling Guiniker that one day he may be able to help his family or breathe fresh air. That is not an opportunity the victim will ever get. Prosecutors say that Guiniker, who is originally from Venezuela, does not have any other arrests in his file, but does have some sort of immigration note from 2023. His public defender also saying that he has been living in Cook County for the past 2 years and has a work permit that allows him to be in the country. From the courthouse, Sarah Maki, CBS News, Chicago.
Right. Venezuelan immigrant. Yep. Work permit. Yep. Still out here murdering people. You can't make this up. They even tried to say it in a way that kind of like eased some of the impact. He's a Venezuelan migrant. He's been somehow finagled away to get a work permit. He's only been living in Chicago for 2 years. Already has produced his anchor baby to keep him in the country, and he's still out murdering people. He's still out stabbing homeless people in the back, beating them with pipes. Guys, some people will never be able to get away from who they are and the trauma of their upbringing. He should be deported. Get his ass out. Bet he wish he could get deported now. But this is what we keep telling Brandon, that's not even happening. Yes, it is. The only reason you don't think it's happening is because the way the mainstream legacy media is reporting it. Omitting information and then, subtly mentioning the facts in a way that, like, I guess you can easily miss it, vaguely stating the facts around immigration. But the Hispanics are not the only ones committing heinous murders against heinous acts against homeless people. Recently in Florida, 3 African American males felt it was necessary to kill a homeless man for, quote, dissing the dead homies. He dissed the homies, so we killed him.
These 3 teenagers beat a man to death in the streets of Jacksonville, Florida. For what, you may ask? Because they said that this man dissed their homies. What does that mean? This is Roger Borkham. He's 64 years old and he was homeless at the time of his. An interesting thing about this man was that he narrowly escaped the 9/11 disaster, only to be unalived by 3 teenagers on the streets of Jacksonville, Florida. Yes, you heard me right earlier. Teenagers unalived this 64-year-old man. Justin Curry, who was just 13, who was actually 12 years old at the night of the beating. Markavian Lacey, who was 19 years old. And Robert Pope, who is 16 years old. They have all been arrested and indicted for murder. This is crazy. This is like the 3rd incident I've heard of teenagers attacking grown adults.
So on October 19th in downtown Jacksonville, Florida, there was a guy named Roger Borkham who was homeless. He was 64 years old, and he got jumped by these 3 teenagers who stomped him out to death practically. There was a pool of blood found around his head when the cops showed up, and there was a trail all the way down the sidewalk. And they only said it was because he disrespected their dead homies, and they didn't really comment about it further. Died 4 days later of his injuries. They actually came back 20 minutes later after doing this to rummage through his backpack and beat him some more. They took his shit. One kid was 12 years old at the time of this, 17 and 19. And my first thought is, what kind of parents do you have? What kind of parents are these that are just letting their kids roam around and think that this is okay, that you can go do this? You can be a person like this out in the world where you can take somebody's life because they're lesser. You think they're lesser than you.
All right, guys.
Tonight, 3 teenagers are now charged in a brutal attack that left a man dead in downtown Jacksonville. They are just 13, 16, and 19 years old. And we are naming the juvenile suspects because of the nature of their charges, and they will all be tried as adults. Our Cindy DeShawn has been digging through arrest reports tonight to uncover what happened in the hours leading up to this savage attack, Sydney.
Yeah, Heather, and investigators say the man who was homeless was beaten not once, not twice, but 3 times, all within about an hour downtown.
Wow.
A witness spoke up and police found the 3 teens within just hours of the attack.
3 young suspects, just 13, 16, and 19 years old, now charged as adults in the murder of 64-year-old Roger Borkham, 13-year-old Justin Curry, who was indicted by a Duval County grand jury, 16-year-old Robert Pope, and 19-year-old Markavian Lacey. Detectives say Borkham, who was homeless, was beaten 3 separate times over the course of a little more than an hour back on October 19th. An arrest report revealing officers were called to 110 North Hogan Street. And when they arrived, they found Borkham unconscious near a doorway, blood pooling on the sidewalk. First responders took him to the hospital, and Borkham died 4 days later. The medical examiner ruling his death a homicide caused by blunt force trauma. The arrest report reveals a witness told police he saw 3 teenagers kicking and stomping the victim before.
Notice how the media didn't read this verbatim, right? He advised he observed 3 young black males kicking and stomping the victim. Amazing how the media leaves that out. At the very least, they did show the pictures and the names. They also should have included the parents' names as well, too, and their pictures, right? I think what you got to start doing when it comes to these thugs, okay, these agents of chaos committing acts of violence like this, murders, you got to start putting up pictures of the parents, too, right? Go ahead and show the world who raised animals, right? The animals that raised the animals, right? That's what we have to start doing.
Hey, Greg's 100% right. The parents are never held accountable for what their kids are doing. But you want me to tell you something that's crazy? Okay, so those 3 boys killed a man in Jacksonville, Florida. Who's the mayor of Jacksonville, Florida? Donna Deegan, Democrat. The little Hispanic boys killed the homeless man in Chicago. Who's the mayor of Chicago? Brandon Johnson, Democrat. Go to Stockton, California, where you just had 4 people killed, 10 people wounded. I think 14 people shot. 4 of them died. Stockton, California, Democrat. Who is the mayor of Charlotte, North Carolina? V. Lyles, Democrat. Guys, there's a common theme here. And I know you guys don't like it. I mean, we's black. I get that. I understand. I know I ain't no party for us, but guys, there's a common theme here. Every single mayor in every one of these cities is a soft on crime Democrat. If they're under 18, you have to deal with them a certain way, Democrat. And what is it doing? What is it helping? What is it helping? These fools is so bad, they're killing homeless people now. They killing people who ain't even got no money. That's the part about killing a homeless person that just doesn't sit right with me. You're not even trying to get anything for it. You're just murdering. You're just slaughtering somebody for nothing. If they want to fight, send them to the army and send them to Syria or wherever. If they want to kill. There's somewhere I'm sure we doing something, overthrowing a government. Send them to Venezuela. Right? I'm 100% blaming Democrats' soft on crime policies. Yes, Fort Hill 37. I am 100% blaming Democrats for these soft on crime policies. Who else are you going to blame? I love the fact that you're here, Fort Hill. I'll give you the link. You can come up and tell me how this isn't their fault, but I don't understand how. When if you go to North Carolina, Charlotte, where the woman was stabbed in the neck, stabbed to death by the degenerate, the psychopath, the Democrats and the NAACP are fighting the legislature, trying to keep them from passing a law that would keep violent repeat offenders locked up and not release them into society on cashless bail policies. Why would you fight that? Yes, that's an honest question. My question is, why aren't you blaming Democrats for this? They're the ones who you're voting for. It's crazy to me how someone can run for office, tell you that they're going to fix your problems, but when the problems get worse, they don't get blamed. Now, I'll give you a soapbox. I gave you the link. Just click it. It'll give you a soapbox so you can come up here. Because my question is, why is another black male asking me whether or not I'm blaming the Democrats when that's who's at fault? If something happens in a Republican city, that's their fault, right? Right? If the mayor is Republican and people are getting slaughtered in his city, that's his fault. Right? I'm not going to blame the governor. The governor don't control over what's happening in that city. Oh, yeah, the Soros DAs as well. We know Alvin Brandt, or whatever his name is. Alvin Bragg. That's all I'm saying. My question is, why aren't you blaming them? They love the blame game. Something go wrong with you. These Democrat voters, something go wrong, they blaming Trump. Some lady was like, oh, my groceries, this is that high in California. Probably not. Your stuff is high in California because you got all types of taxes. She said gas is high. Gas is high. Blame Trump, please. Gas is cheap nationally. We just hit a record low on gasoline. But Californians won't feel that because we have so many taxes attached to our gasoline purchases. It artificially inflates the cost of a gallon of gas. We won't feel the discount. But yeah, you should blame them. They ran for election so they could be held responsible. They ran for election so they could be held responsible. But when it's time to hold them responsible, it's like, man, I have a friend. Y'all know my boy. He be getting up here, KP. I said, why is this the way it is in California? Oh, because the Republicans. I said, KP, bro, Republicans have no power in California. Republicans have no power in California. How you blaming the Republicans now? Because you know why? You know how? Why? Because that's what Democrats are trained to do. No matter what, everything bad that happens, that's Republicans' fault. Everything good that happens, that's Democrats' fault. Yeah, when you start thinking like that, you cooked. KP, you know when we was having that conversation. I ain't gonna lie on you. I remember I was sitting in front of the coffee shop. We was talking for a good long time. Yep. Oh, it's the Republicans. I said, what Republicans? We were talking about the money being stolen for the homelessness stuff, as a matter of fact. But you know what's sad, right? And I hope I can find this. I'm going to try to find it real quick. Oh, here we go. Found it. I found it. Look at God. Look at God. He wanted me to find this. The sad part about it, you guys, and I'm going to give you some juice that you didn't even know you was going to get. You know what I'm saying? The sad part about it is the Democrats are admitting that they're doing a terrible job. The Democrat Party is admitting that they're doing a terrible job. The only people who can't see that they're doing a terrible job is the people who vote for them. They're admitting to you. They're like, we're not doing a good job. But guess what? It don't matter. Anything's better than Trump. That's the mindset right here. They'll tell you, we're doing a horrible job. It doesn't matter. Anybody's better than Trump. Guys, we're not dealing with like sane people here. We're not. I hate to say it. We're not dealing with sane people. The lights are on, but no one's home. That's a fact. I think it's more than one factor in our mess of society. You're right, my brother. There's multiple factors, but most of those factors start and end with Democrat policies. Trust me. I live in a state that has been damn near totally destroyed by them. Let's tap into this. This is great. We freestyling right now. Let's tap into this. There's an Instagram page called, I don't know what it's called, but this guy goes around and he just like talks to politicians, right? So he's talking to Rep. Maxine Dexter. I believe, yeah, she's in Oregon. She's a rep in Oregon, right? She's having like a rally, an anti-Trump rally. And this guy who is a Trump supporter, he comes up to her and he addresses her. He engages with her about what he confronts her about the problems that Oregon is facing. And I respect Maxine because Maxine did not run from what he was saying. As a matter of fact, Maxine admitted that he was absolutely right about the things he was saying. The only problem was there was an old white lady standing next to them, and she basically felt it was her job to interrupt their conversation because she didn't like that her representative was admitting that the Democrat Party is failing Oregon.
I just want to tell you, I don't agree with pretty much everything on how you stand. Okay. My biggest thing is you use the word terrorizing about ICE. Do you not give them any credit for like taking Trende Aragua people out of here or any of the people that are here? Yeah, I mean,
it's not terrorizing though. That's why I said
I know.
You have a warrant.
Yeah.
That person's name. That is a absolutely rightful detention.
But I don't ever hear you like give ICE credit, or I don't ever hear you give President Trump credit for getting the bad people that are actually committing crimes. So I'm not talking about people that are here for better lives. life.
These are not the people who are detained. We know that under 20% of people being detained right now have any criminal history, let alone the violent criminal history that we are being.
I don't ever hear that from you. I follow you, and I don't hear that kind of talk. I hear terrorizing. I know you don't like President Trump, and I'm not here to defend President Trump. I'm simply saying is we have a lot of problems here at home in Oregon. I mean, the Democrat, your party controls every branch of government. Our education is a disaster. Our economic, our livability, our homelessness downtown that you used to sit on the committee for.
He said Democrat Party controls every branch of government in Oregon. Education's a disaster. Portland's a disaster. She said, I totally agree with you. She basically is saying, I acknowledge that we are doing a horrible job. Now, how are you going to defend somebody who admits that they're doing a terrible job? And not just that they're doing a terrible job, every Democrat in Oregon is doing a horrible job. But I bet you if you talk to a lunatic down there, oh, it's the Republican fault. What Republicans?
Is a disaster. It's increased by 67% according to PSU, or 63%. That was according to PSU. I mean, you think they're not telling the truth over there?
No, it's how you look at the data, and I'm happy to sit down and go through that with you.
Okay.
And
so what am I missing? What is PSU missing?
Anything.
Okay.
So let me just say very clearly, I talked with our city council members. How goes Portland, so goes the rest of the state. We cannot leave people on the streets and call that compassion. We cannot leave people.
Your party's been in control of it for years, though, and it's gotten worse.
So, sir.
And you guys are more like. Listen, I know we have problems, but you're more concerned about Trump.
I think.
Hi. My name's Dave.
So we can't leave people on the street. We need to show compassion. That's fine. But the guy brought up a great point. Your party's been in charge for years. You've been trying to deliver the compassion for years. And there's a part 2 here I'm going to play right now.
Obama deported.
Her party has been in charge for years. They've been in charge of delivering the compassion, but they failed at it miserably. But what, like, my question is, if you know you can't do the job, why do you keep applying for it? Why do you keep going out to get it? You should say, you know what, we can't get this done. Let's bring in some new blood. Or, hey, where are some Republicans? What ideas do you guys have? They won't. Because what you're going to understand is the shit about Trump is all just a deflection. They keep harping on Trump to distract you away from their failure. Let's tell these people, she's having a rally against Trump. Girl, you are in Oregon. What the hell does Trump have to do with you? Trump got no impact on these Democrat-dominated states. But if I keep bringing up Trump, no one will have time to look at what I'm doing and truly realize how much we've actually failed. But yet, people gonna keep voting for him.
Deported twice as many illegals as Trump did in his first term.
You had your turn. It's my turn. So let's just.
First of all, is this not democracy or what?
We can.
Oh, you've had your turn. It's my turn. What your turn to what? Get down and kiss the lady feet? Because that's what these old white women are doing. They getting on their knees, kissing these politicians' feet, y'all. Did y'all see the lady kiss Jazmine Crockett feet? They're fans. They're not concerned citizens. They're fans. These politicians are celebrities to them. To normal people, it's like this is a public servant who's supposed to be making my life better. These are fans. Let's talk about Trump. Bruh, okay, what is Trump doing? Nothing Trump is doing is hurting anybody American. It might hurt some a family of immigrants' feelings, but it ain't having no negative impact on the everyday average American. Killing Venezuelan drug dealers, that ain't hurting me. That ain't hurting you. That's not hurting your kids or anybody else. It's probably helping you. But let's keep blowing the whistle on everything Trump does so we can, while we still get paid to do absolutely nothing for the people who voted for us. It's disgusting.
cannot leave people on the streets and call that compassion. We cannot leave people.
Your party's been in control of it for years, though, and it's gotten worse.
So, sir.
And you guys are more like, and listen, I know we have problems, but you're more concerned about Trump.
I think the reality is,
I know, I'm not meaning to like be crazy. I'm asking legit questions.
No, I think you
because I'm a lifelong Oregonian. I grew up here, and
you deserve to have your voice heard as much as anyone else.
And I appreciate that, and I get that vibe from you. I really do, and that's why I appreciate your approach. But at the same time, our state is facing failure after failure in every single sector. Your party's in control of that,
I agree.
And I just don't understand why there isn't more accountability on your party that has the control of every.
No, but let me just say this because
I think she can handle it. She's pretty smart.
But what I'm going to say is that this is really important.
Yeah.
Government needs to work. We have not done a good job. We've had Democratic control for too long. It's, I think, disproportionately when you are in power for a long time, you become lazy in how
We've had Democrat power for a long time. We haven't done a good job. When you've had power for a long time, disproportionately, you become lazy. Democrat politicians said it out of our own mouth. Y'all, people will continue to argue for these people. These people are at the point where they are admitting we are not doing a good job. We have had power disproportionately for too long, and we have become lazy. That's not true, because I see you, KP. I don't think no state takes accountability. That's not true. She just took accountability right there. She's better than Gavin Newsom. She took accountability right there. There's some Democrats who will tell the truth, but they're also survivalists. If they could keep the job going after Trump, they'll say, well, I failed in every other duty I've had to you. But hey, if you want me to just hate on Trump, I can do that. I can deliver. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing politicians whose constituents are more concerned with them expressing open hatred for Donald Trump than they are with these people delivering the things they promised and actually delivering them tangible benefits in exchange for their support. And it's just like, yeah, it's like old people and like super young people. Meanwhile, the middle class gets nothing. We getting hosed. I don't even, like, I'm telling you, I don't even feel like I have to try to convert Democrats, bro. I really don't feel like I do, because I don't. I'm telling you, these people will all be conservatives. Give it 5 to 10 years, they will all be conservatives, because the system only has so many chances to come after your damn pockets before you say, you know what, something got to change. I don't got it. Why they keep coming to me for it and I ain't got it? You see all those people who voted for Zohran Mamdani, the Democrat socialist in New York? He's already about to fire 179 people. He ain't even been brought in yet. He's already planning on firing 179 people. But I thought this guy, it was supposed to be like Viva la Revolution. Everything was supposed to be all good, right? I got you, KP. Don't go nowhere. I got one more. Because I got another Democrat politician. And this one, you know for sure. Big Bernie Sanders literally admitted that the Democrat Party has failed the American people. Not because Trump. Bernie realizes he's been wrong for 40 years. Like, that's my biggest question. Why do they keep, like, hold on real quick. Let me go back here. I want to go here. Why, like, they're admitting that they failed you. They're admitting that they failed you. But you're going to keep supporting them. Why? Because, Brandon, that's what I've been trained to do. Unlearn. You can unlearn and relearn. That's something that has been given to you as a human being. You can unlearn and relearn. Unlearn. That's it. Just unlearn. Don't let nobody take advantage of you. And that's what the Democrats are doing. But they're like, why would we stop when, like, you want that to happen? Let's tap into this.
argue with you as
Let
to
me know
whether or
if you
not
can
the
hear it. Give me a
Democrats
one
have,
if you hear
by
it.
and large, turned their backs on the economic needs of working people.
To focus on other.
He said, I'm not going to argue with you as to whether or not the Democrat Party has turned their backs on the needs of working people. That's what he said. He said, I can't even argue it. They've turned their backs on the needs of working people. Why? To serve their billionaire donors, George Soros and people like that. Bernie is telling you. Bernie is telling you. Let me see. Hold on. Who's that? Hold on, guys. Hold on. I need to get rid of this. I need to go back here. Hold on. Okay. Now I'm going to share this. Okay, here we go.
As to whether or not the Democrats have, by and large, turned their backs on the economic needs of working people.
To focus on other issues.
Yes. I've been making that point for quite a while. And the other critique of the Democrats is they have refused to recognize the severity of the crises that we face. As you and I speak, there's real pain in this country. Right? People are really struggling.
It's kind of a double whammy, right? That you are focusing on something which only affects a minority of people, which is pretty horrendous in terms of messaging, which doesn't seem to resonate in the same way. And also, there are all of these problems that would be really good for you to focus
if you address
on.
them.
Yeah, and probably would resonate with more people, which is why, I mean, both me and you agree on this, which is it does feel an awful lot like the Democrats are out of touch with the working class. And is it surprising that they lost ground with them?
No. The answer is, I think after the election, and I worked very hard for Kamala Harris. After the election, I said something to the effect that we should not be surprised that after the Democrats abandoned the working class of this country, the working class abandoned the Democrats.
So when the Democrats abandoned the working class and also abandoned fighting for true injustice and changed to being the party for whoever they deemed to be the most vulnerable and disenfranchised at the moment, they had to fully embrace and adopt identity politics. Because naturally, how do you know who you need to be standing up for or who's the most marginalized unless you break people up into all these different categories?
100%. Love Brandon Lehman. He's cooking every time. It's totally true. The Democrats, they broke people up into categories so that they could see which category or group they could use as the victim world champion. Okay, well, black people are doing pretty good. They're not really buying into the victim narrative as much anymore. Okay, women, they're equal now. They're working. They're doing pretty good. They're not really buying into the victim narrative. Well, they're working now, so they're not into like giving up more tax money for all these initiatives. Who do we get now? Okay, let's start with the LGBTQ. Oh, no, they're working now, making money, and they don't want to get taxed to death. Okay, now we got to fight for trans rights. Now we got to fight for illegal immigrant rights. The Democrats have to find a new victim group every few elections so they could say they're fighting for that group. Black folks is like, you not fighting for me. I work every day. I got to go to work. I don't got time to be out here arguing with you and protesting with you. Women, same thing. They got families, people to take care of. Gay people, same thing. We done adopted 2-3 kids. We got to go to work every day. I can't let you raise my property tax because I got a family to support. They got to find a new victim group. And the new victim group is the trans kids, and the illegal immigrants. That's who, you got to have empathy now. It's always, and after them, it's going to be somebody else. Go ahead, KP.
I got a bone to pick with you, but I'll talk to you about that on a personal matter. How you doing today, Tucker?
This guy right here. All right.
I think you know what I want. I think you know what it's about.
The play?
But yes, nigga. But let me excuse me, brother. My bad, brother.
Nah, you know what happened, bro?
Listen. We're not gonna talk about that on your live program.
No,
your live
let me
thing.
tell you. No, let me tell you what happened. I had the beef ribs. I had the beef ribs for you, right? But when they put the food in the refrigerator, they put all the ham, the beef ribs all together, and I said I can't do my dog like that.
You don't like Muslims. You don't care.
But I ain't gonna do you like that. I ain't gonna feed you bacon and tell you that it's something else. You know, like I was like, I can't do him like that because I was ready to make you a plate. But when they put the stuff up, they touched everything together, and I was like, I ain't gonna do my dog like that.
Nah, but when I said no states takes accountability, I don't mean to me. I'm not saying the politicians. I'm saying the people, right? Because I look at it from both sides. You have a lot of people that's blindly following each party, right? Yeah. And they'll have these social needs or these social downfalls, and nobody speaks out. I can look at a state like Oklahoma, right? They've been damn near dead last in education for decades.
Yep.
They're still voting Republican. They're still voting the same people in. So obviously, they're not looking at that like they're not saying, "Oh, we need time for a change." They're saying, "Hey, this is not a big issue for us." Or you have these states that'll be dead last in their economy, and they'll still vote these ways, vote this way. So I think it's just the people. I think people, human beings, as a people, as this country, we're not on one accord. I mean, you've talked about this many times. I think it's just a big separation. I think we're treating this shit like the NFL, where I'm going to be a diehard for my team, no matter if we're winning or losing. I'm gonna still, put the hat on, put the jersey on, and rep. I just think I think that's the American people right now. I think that nobody is saying, "Hey, let's come together and let's just figure out what works best as a whole." Right. If we continue as a country to be, well, this party, that party, I mean, that shit's gonna keep going because where Democrats fail, we have Republicans that fail at. You feel me? Yeah. People can say shit about California. California has the toughest laws in this country.
Yeah.
This country, yeah. This state really have tough laws. They have real tough laws that other states won't dare to touch. They won't.
California got a lot of crime.
But I'm just, two populations. But I tell people motherfuckers will never speak about that. Okay, you got states where motherfucker murder somebody and be out in 10 years.
Yeah, but also California kind of created a situation where they're exporting crimes, bro. They got Bloods and Crips in every state now. And that all came from Cali.
I mean, that's the drug trade. We know that's the drug trade.
Right. But you spoke about Oklahoma. I think when it's states like that with the education and stuff, I think people just look at education about as far as what they want to do, right? If you look at the top employers in Oklahoma, first you have Department of Defense. A lot of people are in the military there. And then the next biggest employer is Walmart, then Amazon, right? These are not jobs that you have to be highly educated for. So I think when you're in Oklahoma, if you want to get go work for the Department of Defense or go work for the government. If you don't care about that and you just got a high school or middle school education, go work at Walmart or go work at Amazon.
But when we're talking about K through 12 students that can barely read, these are people who are going to be struggling for the rest of their lives.
We struggling in California.
But we have more people that's being successful. We're breeding more successful people.
But we have more people
I have a lot of people in my family from Oklahoma City, Norman, Oklahoma, Tulsa, you feel me? And these are some of the dumbest motherfuckers I've ever met in my life. I'm just being honest. I'll be sitting there when I go visit them. I'll be like, "Oh yeah, let me get back to Cali."
But I got people I got family members from Georgia, traditionally a red state, super smart, making but 30,000 a year.
That's why I go back to my thing. I think these issues are bipartisan issues. I'm an independent. I'm a moderate. I don't look at shit from this side. I say, look, man, this shit is about the people, and if the people ain't on one accord, this shit gonna always be for a problem, no matter who's in office. Like I tell people, we only got to deal with a president for the most part 8 years. Yeah. We can look at us every 4 to 8 years if something's gonna change, something's gonna dramatically change. And if nobody is addressing the people as a whole, whether if they're Republican or Democrat, then American people will suffer no matter what together. Because we have to be on a one accord.
And that's why I tell people, stop focusing on what Trump is doing. You need to be figured out a way to work with Trump to get what you want. Dude, do you know how dumb I feel people are out protesting ICE? Bro, the way you deal with that is to go talk to your elected representatives. And next year, when the new guy's running for president, you say, hey, dude, you want our vote. You better fix this ICE stuff where they getting innocent, law-abiding, illegal criminal aliens out the country. We want that stopped. That's what you do there.
You know, look, not to cut you off. A couple weeks ago, man, you had a conversation, and you had said something. You was like, man, Trump's a troll. He knows how to, keep his name in the press, right? Right. And I was telling one of my folks, I said, I think that's one of the problems that he has is like he likes to agitate, right? I mean, Obama deported more people than anybody. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of like silently done. And I'm like, nobody bat an eye to that shit because it wasn't in their face. But I think with the ICE shit, when it's in people's face, it's like now it becomes an agitation.
Yes,
I mean, because you do have these motherfuckers that don't, a lot of these people don't, like these agents, they don't give a fuck about the American citizen rights. They're so gun-ho for their job that they're just gonna do it and do it. It's like having overzealous police. I'm not saying the whole department. It's like you have overzealous police. All police are not bad. But like I told one of my best friends who's a cop, LAPD officer for the last 12 years, I'm like, you never heard a song called Fuck the Paramedics or Fuck the Fire Department. He was like, you're right. I said, because these people, these fields don't have a bad rep. But when you have overzealous people doing shit, or you have corrupt, fucked up people doing shit, then it just creates a bad rep. It's bad press.
You might get
sometimes that bad shit just don't go.
You might get one about those Pacific Palisade fires, but also you have to understand the media, the mainstream media, and the Democrat Party. They've basically launched over a decade-long campaign against law enforcement. I mean, you're gonna get, like back in the days with NWA, F the police. I get it, right? Dudes were tripping, the police were tripping, but at the same time, it was a very violent time in Los Angeles. So the police looking at it like, man, it's us versus the animals. These dudes are shooting each other up.
But when it comes to that, though, right? This is the problem that I will. This is my pushback. When you are not doing it within the guidelines of your job, when you have people like Officer Whitey and them in the Compton Police Department going and stealing niggas' cars and impounding niggas' cars and then using their cars to go shoot at niggas and keeping gang wars going on when niggas had a truce, then that creates a problem. So, and it's for black people. We've always had this relationship with the police. It's not something like we've just had a trusting relationship. These people, I mean, we both, you my brother, we both know these people have historically did things to where they did not gain the trust of the overall black community.
Yeah, I think the black community's relationship with law enforcement is kind of complicated too, because at the same time, black people, we something happened, we calling the police, some cops be cool, I think there's just always people who make it bad for everybody.
We acknowledge the necessity of it. I mean, we're very smart people. We acknowledge that it's a necessity. I mean, I think for the most part, and this is something I tell people, I think for the most part, the average person wants peace in their life. They want to be able to feed their family and live good. Right. Most people are going to support that. I always say, I think nobody's 100% conservative, 100% liberal. No. I think that we're conservative about certain things and we're liberal about certain things. But I think we just have that general feeling of we want what's right. You know me, I'm an ex-con. One of my best friends is a police officer. Right. I'm an ex-con. I tell people all the time, prison is necessary. I've been in prison with motherfuckers why like they should never get out. But then there's people who I'm like, this person deserves a chance.
Right.
And it's like, we want what's best. It's just you have this system. And it's just a mind state. That's why, I always champion you. I think that what you do is brilliant. I get the whole thing. I know you're an agitator at times. And I get that, though. It's the same thing I tell people about Charleston White. His messages be beautiful. He's just an agitator and it just throws people off. But we also listen to these messages because we like, well, this motherfucker is saying something right. And we do need these voices. We do need these people. We do need these politicians. We do need these voters. Whether if the whole House of Representatives in the Senate go blue next year,
Right.
It doesn't mean that it's just a victory because you went blue. Nah, if we're saying, hey, we're gonna trust you again, then it's good that the people like Bernie Sanders are saying, hey, we've been fucking up. We need that accountability. I don't think that's bad. I don't think anybody thinks that's bad that he's saying that. It's crazy. Like, that's good to hear that somebody saying, hey, we need change. Like I told you, I think that's why Mandami won. I mean, he was able to sell his product the best. And it was like, hey, I'm no strong Democrat, in office supported him.
Right.
So it did work for the people who are tired of the Democrat Party but are liberal, and they find the people in New York, okay, well, this guy is not like these people, but he still represents me. It's easier to sell it. It's easier to buy into that. But it's like if we're voting you in, have changed. So when people was mad that him and Trump was talking, I'm like, hey, what y'all want him to do?
Why
he
you
can't
be
he
mad?
can't fight against this man. At some point, Trump gonna bow down and he gonna bow down because that's what works best for the people in New York. And I think that's what we lost as a people, that we're so busy upon. It's a gang mentality. Niggas gonna bang Republicans till they die. Niggas gonna bang Democrats till they die. But it's like, when do you become the person that says, I can sit down at the table and talk to anybody?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true. But I try to be like that. I am like that. Like whoever has a good idea, I'm gonna listen to him, and if it's good, I'll support it. I mean, I've donated money to Democrats. I donated money to the Democrat dude who ran against AOC.
I mean, well, you're a smart person, and something I've been wanting to tell you, but I haven't been able to get you on the phone. I do feel like sometimes you should get more into that, your moderate like mentalities. Not saying that what your views are, because I know your views is your views, but I think you do serve a great purpose when you're able to not only criticize but educate, but come from a place of understanding. Because I think a lot of people listen to you because of that. Because no matter what, it's a piece of it for everybody. One of the things I've been mad about for quite some time is you haven't been on your Pan-African, conversation. And I'm like, the people I sent your way was because of those things. Like, you are able to feed people that. And I think when you start having these conversations, it wakes people up, because it's like, hey, well, this is a guy who's a Trump supporter, MAGA, whatever they want to call you. But this is also a person who understands, hey, I'm not saying that motherfuckers should do life in prison. I'm saying that if we put this deterrent out there, maybe these kids won't do life in prison. You're talking prevention, not intervention.
Right.
And
No,
I think that it will come across that way. But I just want to tell you that, man, I love you. You already know. I ain't want to argue and get cussed out today on the channel. The last time I was here, damn near, you feel me? I ain't trying to get you demonetized. So,
all right, man. Thank you. I appreciate you coming up.
Yeah, I love you, bro.
Peace. Love you too. I ain't trying to get cussed out. These dudes are funny. I just be up here cussing people out. No, I'm just kidding. We gotta talk. Our final topic for tonight. We gotta talk about Jazmine Crockett, man. What is going on with this lady? It's so bad with this woman. Even MSDNC, MS Now, whatever they want to call it, even they are now calling her out about the blatant lies that she tells about her colleagues, her peers. You guys remember recently she told this bold-faced lie about Republican representatives receiving money from Jeffrey Epstein. It was a man named Jeffrey Epstein who's a physician in New York, has nothing to do with the Jeffrey Epstein, the pedophile, but Jazmine Crockett knew that. But she still got on the floor of Congress and insinuated that these Republican representatives took money from the Jeffrey Epstein. And the worst part was when it was discovered that it wasn't the Jeffrey Epstein, it was another Jeffrey Epstein, she refused to apologize. And now she's doubling down on the lie, trying to be smart and slick and clever, because she knows that the people who support her and many of the people who support her party, she knows that they are not ever going to do any research. They're triggered easily. They're hyper emotional. So if she throws a lie out there, they would rather cling to the lie and regurgitate that. than admit the truth and accept the fact that none of these Republican politicians took money from Jeffrey Epstein.
But obviously, in Trump's America, this is exactly what he wants. And the idea that one person can get out of line and commit such a horrific crime as shooting two National Guardsmen that never, ever asked to be here. In fact, we know the young lady that lost her life, specifically, we're saying that this is a waste of time. But now you want to go against every single immigrant. That doesn't make sense. And it's frankly not who we are, because if that's the case, let's talk about the white supremacists and how many of them need to be kicked out of this country, because I can guarantee you, I can track down more crimes that they've committed, because overall immigrants have a lower crime committal rate than white supremacists. But we don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, we do. This lady just be talking out the side of her neck. Even if they're white supremacists, this is their country. This is where they were born. If they do commit a crime, they'll be held accountable for that, and they'll go to jail. And Donald Trump has repeatedly renounced, whatever you want to call it, white supremacists, the KKK, etc. Jazmine Crockett is just an old, tired politician with bad wigs who's just going to keep riding the racism train until it runs off the tracks. Two American National Guardsmen, two American National Guards members were viciously ambushed by an Afghani asylum seeker. And she can't even say like her heart goes out or this was wrong. It was wrong for him to do that. Nothing. No condemnation of it at all. Just a pivot to let's blame white supremacy. I'm telling you, they believe that these immigrants are their new voter base. So just like Ilhan Omar, no matter what they do, they will never come out condemning them, no matter how many Americans they hurt. These people could blow up a federal building today, kill 1,000 people. Jazmine Crockett them will be like, my heart goes out to the families, but she'll never criticize the people who are nurturing and harboring these criminals. This is all a fight for the future. Ujuju Fort Hill. They'll never criticize these people because they believe that these people are going to deliver them future elections. And I feel like that's the reason why it's important for Trump to get these people out of the country. I just don't see it. Like, what is the appeal of having a bunch of Somalis here? They clearly don't like America. All they do is complain about it, how bad it is. They scam almost $500,000. Like, that element, that's not what we're trying to bring into America. Some hardware, like I like the Indians. The Indians don't even bother me at all. They come, they work, they open up a whole motel, whatever they want to do, but they're busting their butt. A lot of the Arabs do the same thing. But it becomes a problem when you have people come and they develop this like adversarial relationship with the government. Somalians, you're not African Americans. You didn't endure 400 years of slavery to even have any animosity against the country. Stop complaining. You left a war-ravaged cesspool, basically, that where you people were getting slaughtered. You have nothing to complain about. How dare you steal from America? How dare you complain about America? How dare you elect a politician who says she's here to represent Somalia from within the political system of America? No, you're here to represent America and the constituents who voted for you, not just the Somalis. And you know what's funny? They'll say like, oh, no illegal voting is taking place. I guarantee you some illegal, I guarantee you some Somalian asylum seekers voted for Ilhan Omar. It makes no sense because why is she going so hard for him? Which I understand there are legal citizens who are also Somali who support these people, but it's just like the way it's just totally one-sided. I haven't seen Ilhan Omar in a rally or a meeting with someone who wasn't Somalian in like ever really. That's all she messed with. Go ahead, Uzi Jew Fort Hill. You got to unmute. Unmute your mic. I'm going to keep playing Jazmine. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm off. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. I got one question for you. That's it, Brandon, man. I follow you. I hype. I subscribe. I just want to see you keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
Well, what's it gonna take?
For what?
We need to stand together as Black people. I thought after the Breonna, and who's the dude that got choked? George Floyd.
Yeah,
we need
George
to stand
Floyd.
together as Black people. What's it gonna take? What else does it need to be displayed? This is worse than the KKK.
Yeah, nah, it's not worse than the KKK. It's not. What's worse than the KKK is Pookie and Ray Ray. Pookie and Ray Ray have taken the title from the KKK when it comes to Black murder. You know that. I know that. KKK don't even got to do nothing no more. Just give them switches and they're going to smoke each other. You got something behind in the background. You got to stop.
Is it because of a street? Is it because of a color?
You got to stop whatever's playing in the background. But I said because of constant violence and constant violence behind the Black on Black violence. But the point is, Black people ask this question: what is it going to take? It's going to take for Black people collectively to stop trying to operate on emotion. Nothing can be sustained on emotion. That's why every movement you ever had came, it fizzled out, and you ended up back at work on Monday morning because you're only working on emotion. Look at BLM. It was all emotional. That's why women ran it and wouldn't even let most men, unless they was gay, be a part of it because it just was built on pure emotion. And at the end of the day, they stole millions because their emotions in that moment told them that all the work they put
I'm in the home of Breonna Taylor, so I witnessed all that firsthand.
Breonna Taylor, lady who got shot? I mean, the thing with this Breonna Taylor situation, what the hell is
Louisville, Kentucky.
What is worrying about that going to do for you? Breonna Taylor was wrongfully killed. Kentucky paid her millions of dollars. Her family got rich. They took the money and they don't give a shit anymore. They didn't keep going fighting the police to get those officers convicted or nothing like that. They took the pay. And then they said, "Oh, it's okay. We took the payola." Her boyfriend, he got shot or was shooting up police. I commended that dude for being a man and defending his home or defending his girlfriend's home. Yeah, but once you take the money, it's like you're saying, all right, we're good.
You may know me. Punished for that. He got punished for that.
It don't matter. Punish whatever. I'm telling you, Breonna Taylor's family took millions. They didn't build one center for the youth. They didn't even put a rock on the ground with a plaque on it in her honor or in her memory other than her tombstone. They didn't use that money to go forward and like create a safer situation in Kentucky. Same way with Trayvon Martin's mama. Her son got killed. She didn't use that.
They actually made a street next to the courthouse. That's it.
They didn't make it. The city made it. They didn't make it. The city made it. What did her parents do with that $3.2 million or whatever they got paid once they received it? They didn't do anything. They backed out and gave Ben Crump his money, and then they went and retired. They probably broke already.
If they were smart, they would have moved out of town.
Well, exactly. And how does that help the situation? It doesn't. That's what I'm telling you. Black people can't be accepting hush money for the unjust murder of Black people, then say, hey, we got to come together. Nah, the people, if your own daddy put a price on your life, why do you want me to inconvenience myself, jeopardize what I got going on in your name, in your honor? No, your dad felt $3 million was worth the life of his kid. Your mama too. They took it. You know, they signed an agreement saying they won't keep going out and talking about it in public. You know, they signed agreements to do that. Everybody got paid. Nigga, tell me what a Black life's worth like Tupac. About $3.2 million. That's the reality of
So
the
do you
situation.
think that they just paid to silence black people for their whole future? We're still slaves?
You said what? Say that again. I don't know. You said something
Do you
about.
feel like we're still slaves? Like they'll pay for our vote, they'll pay for our work, they'll pay for everything, but they don't want us to stand together.
I don't feel like you're still a slave. You can do what you want to do. You have autonomy. How you a slave? A slave is on a plantation and can't leave. You go anywhere you want to in the world and stay there for the most part if you want to. Once you start going out the country and stuff, all that we slave shit go right out the window. You can go to the village you could go to the village that your ancestors was born in Africa and go build some shit.
So when you go out the country and they say that you're an American, you do not get treated a different way?
I am an American. I am an American. Getting treated a different way, that just depends on the people you're dealing with. Some people gonna treat you like home team because that's the way they are. Some people gonna try to get over on you because you're naive and you don't know any better. Same way if an African go to New York City, he might get pickpocketed. He might get scammed, right? That's the way it is. It's not about your race or nation of origin. It's about like, are you naive? Are you familiar with the
I'm from
local-
Kentucky, Brandon. No, you will get shot. Even little kids got guns on them. This is not like California.
I mean, Kentucky, little kids having guns. I don't get it. What's the point? What point are you making? But I'll tell you,
the shit ain't cute. It's just bad. It's bad. Y'all got this shit sweet out there. Y'all think it's bad
ain't
out there?
nothing
In the South,
sweet.
it's way worse.
You guys are getting what you vote for. That's it. You want Democrats running your city. Democrats need crime, right? Because they always got to have some cause to be fighting for. And Democrats don't want to get tough on crime because, that's a symptom of the oppression.
This is a red state.
It doesn't matter. You live in a blue city. You live in a blue city. I promise you, the Republican-run cities in Kentucky are nowhere near as violent and crime-ridden as the Democrat-run cities in Kentucky. I promise you.
So does that make us lesser than?
Yes, it does. That doesn't make you less than. You make you less than. Because the minute you accept that and say that's good enough for you and you vote and support those politicians, you are saying, I want to be less than these other people. Your kids are even less than because your kids don't have as much love from their parents as the white kids do. Because the white parents are going to.
But I do not vote for them and I do not support them.
Let me just make this point. White parents love their kids enough to create peaceful, stable environments for them to grow up in. Black people love the Democrat Party more than they love their own children because they'll tell you if you go to the voting booth and don't vote Democrat, don't come on. I always say this. I say this all the time. We have a friend. I have a friend of a friend. Friend of a friend.
Brandon, cut the bullshit. That shit been dead since Obama.
What's
Ain't
been
no
dead since
motherfucking
Obama?
way.
What's been dead since Obama? I don't know what he's talking about. But the point I'm making is if you love your children, you will work hard.
Support a certain status like a Democratic or a Republican. I don't support either way.
Well, that's okay. Then if you ain't voting, then you ain't even participating. So why complain? Neighborhood Herald, he gonna say, she said
what benefits
Jeffrey
us?
Epstein.
I'll vote for what benefits us as black people.
Okay, vote Republican. That'll benefit you. Look, Brandon, she said a Jeffrey Epstein, not the Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, Neighborhood Herald, if you fell for that, I feel sorry for you. Jazmine Crockett thought that those Republican politicians took money from the Jeffrey Epstein. It was very clear. And then when she got corrected, she tried to say, I didn't say the Jeffrey Epstein. I said a Jeffrey. She's a lawyer. She's a lawyer. And she's trying to prey on people's ignorance or naivety. And she got you. She got you. She ain't gonna get me though, because we all know what she meant. And even the mainstream media that usually treats her like a darling, they even acknowledge that she was implying that they took money from the Jeffrey Epstein, right? She's still Jazmine is still pushing the narrative that Trump is a pedophile. So she's just gonna keep pushing that because that's what the people who support her want to believe. It's not what's true. It's just what they want to believe. Uzi Jew. Any final thoughts?
Which is crazy. Yeah, bro, I just appreciate you listening to me, man. I'm a fan. That's it.
No problem, man.
Ask certain questions because we in two different parts of the world and we see shit two different ways. And I'm 44. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a kid. I got a salary job. I got insurances and benefits. It's not me. I want to protect the people that don't have shit. I see people picking up cans. And
don't worry about those people.
Their life and they fucked up.
Don't worry about those people. You got to worry about just you and your kids. Just worry about you and your kids.
Looking like junkies.
Listen, your old head is choosing to smoke the pipe. You ain't making them. You got to focus on your kids. That's what I do. I focus on my kids, my nephews, my nieces. That's who I can impact.
That don't make this shit cool. And
I ain't saying it was cool. Nobody is saying it's cool. But it's like if you ever been to like an Alcoholics Anonymous, because I used to go with my friend because he was a drunk. What do they say? What's the serenity prayer? Lord, help me change it, control the things.
Hell, motherfucking no. I ain't never had to do no goddamn NAACP, none of that dumb shit.
Yeah, I used to go. I used to go, man.
Manager. I got a good job.
Listen, that ain't got nothing to do with it. Sometimes you go to support people, you know? Sometimes you have people who be going through stuff. I used to go with my friend. It was cool.
Sometimes it do got to do with it, brother. You got to tell them that black people get good jobs, and we are not all followers.
You think that
some
they
of us bosses? I'm a motherfucking boss.
You think they don't know that?
Some secondhand flunky ass, roll your blunt ass nigga.
I mean, look, man, you just can't save everybody. I focus on my kids. Listen, this is a good thing for black people. This is the serenity prayer. They say this in AA. It says like this. It says living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace, taking as he did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will, that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy for him forever in the next. Amen. But this is the point, the biggest part. It says, God, grant me the
serenity. Because you repent.
Wait a minute.
You just like me.
You gotta
have more intellect. You just like me.
See, you gotta wait. This is the part that you're gonna miss. You're gonna miss the best part. It says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's all we need right there. Those hypes and those dope fiends, look, man, they've been smoking. I got an auntie. She's been a crackhead for 25, 30 years. She's not going to stop smoking, my nigga. I'm not going to waste a second. I've done everything. Dragged her out of dope houses, took care of her kids for months on end when she was out on binges, all that. I'm done with that. I had to start focusing on me. And I said, you know what? Me being a better person, me taking care of my business, that'll give her kids a better example than she ever could. Now when her kids they got a problem, they don't even call her. They call me. You know what I'm saying? Same with some of my sisters and stuff. You got to stop trying to save grown folks and just make sure that you're in a position to where if one of your little family members, one of the little kids, What? I ain't worried about no grown folks. Grown folks do what they want to do. Somebody smoking dope.
It's good stuff. I'm glad you being positive for your family and everything like you're supposed to be.
No, we all
you're
should
be. You're a grown-ass man. You doing grown-ass business. That's it.
But that's what I'm telling you. Grown folks going to do what they want to, whether they white, black, blue, or green. I would tell you, get your kids out of the hood. I don't think you live in the hood, but if you did live in the hood, get your kids the hell out of the hood. Stop trying to say the hood. The hood ain't doing shit for nobody. Take your kids, put them in the white school. Let them get the best education and just keep them trained, keep them grounded, and make sure that they don't ever, feel like who they are is less than who somebody else is. That's what you do. That's how I raised my daughter.
I'm in my hood, and
You
I
said
see
what?
my kids' school results, and they're all failing. But we got to do better for each other. I got to
No.
carry the people that can't carry themselves.
You can't carry them. Don't carry them. Let their mom and daddy carry them. You focus on your kids. That's what's going to make it all better. I'm telling you. Because, bro, I'm telling you, get your kids out of the hood, man.
I'm down that sword then, Brandon. I'm different.
No, you ain't different. Many people have done it before you. But I'm telling you, like, I met some rich black folks, bro, who like moved out of the hood and stuff. I mean, some real brothers, you know what I'm saying? Sisters and shit.
I'm
Like,
sure of that. But
they'll straight up like tell you all the game,
my
bro.
kids is doing good, but it's not every kid in the ghetto.
I'm telling you, man, like, I'm seeing these people, these young kids, engineers, doctors, lawyers, black folks. The one thing they have in common, they ain't trying to be up in the hood saving people. Black folks have been in America long enough to where we should be able to navigate ourselves out of the hood relatively easily. The ones you see left behind are the ones who want to stay there for one reason or another. Either it's the drugs, the party lifestyle, the
That's if we're
alcohol.
solid, but we're all divided. It's all divisive.
No, I don't think so.
Colors, we divide over hoods.
I think people who want the same things.
Like we're not dividing because we hate each other. We hate each other because you live on this side.
People
I
who
live
want
on
the
this side.
people who want the same things and have similar goals and values, they stick together despite hoods or anything like that. It's Bloods and Crips living on the same block in rich, affluent neighborhoods. I go downtown Long Beach to one of these high-rise luxury apartments. You go up in there.
Where I'm from, nigga, you can have a gun on you and say that shit. It's not California.
Listen, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No, it's not. Everywhere is the same. You have dudes. Look, tell me two hoods. Tell me two hoods in Kentucky and where you from.
It doesn't matter, Brandon.
No, tell me two hoods from Kentucky. From where you from? Louisville.
Hoods. Every other street is a fucking
okay,
hood.
Just give me two.
We don't have 100 streets
just
like
give
y'all.
me two.
We ain't big like y'all.
Give
in
me
Chicago
two.
and California and shit. It'd be like 40 blocks, nigga. And
give me
everybody's
two.
Beefing.
Give me two hoods that beef with each other.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, you could take two rival gang members from Louisville, Kentucky.
All the projects are gone. Ain't no projects.
Listen,
just Park Hill. That's the only project.
Listen to this point. Listen to the point. You could take two rival gang members from Louisville, Kentucky, move them both to Cali, move them to Malibu. They could live directly next door to each other. Them dudes will be getting along in 10 minutes. They'll be like, man, fuck all that bullshit back home. Woo, 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 woo. We cool. We straight. You know how I know for a fact? They go to work and do it every day. It's gang members, rival hoods, go to work, see the rival.
No.
Hell
no.
Yes, it is.
Podge came from out there, from out your way. That's the only reason I know about some bullshit. Ain't no way.
You know, it's a fact. It's a 1,000% fact. Even if you, man, like I'm telling you, when your priorities.
They kick that nigga out of every fucking strip club because he's trying to pimp bitches and do it like he's on fade.
Who? Okay, they kicked him out of every club. That ain't got nothing to do with rival gangs. You moving the goalposts. All right, man. Thank you for coming up. I'll talk to you later. Anyway, but guys, look, we got to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching this. I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do for me, this channel. It's been a blessing. It's been a great time talking with y'all. I like when we get on the stream and we do it big. I hope I covered some stories that you guys wanted to know. Hope you leave feeling informed, right? And we should be back tomorrow. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. If not, we'll be back the day after that. But I got some editing to do, and I'm going to post a bunch of stuff. We got a new month, December. Christmas time is upon us. I wish you and your family many blessings. Go buy the kids presents. Have fun. We got enough drama in the world. Let them enjoy, you know, the finer, happier moments in life. Don't heap all this misery on them, and you don't heap it on yourself. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy this month, the next, and everyone after. Until the next time, take care of yourselves, but most importantly, please take care of each other.